For those of you who are totally oblivious and don't know what's happening here and just came for the food, and because it seemed like there were a lot of pretty interesting people congregating, this is the kickoff of the re-election campaign for Justin Cummings, 3rd District Supervisor. You would be free to clap and show your enthusiasm. It used to be that if I were standing up here talking, I would need no introduction. I think I probably do. My name is Gary Patton. I used to be the County 3rd District Supervisor. Justin, me, Bruce Van Allen, another former elected official, city council person, back in the era in which I was an elected official, are here, and other notable people, among which are every one of you. And I just really want to say thank you for coming to this. I have been a supporter of Justin since the first time around, because I know from my personal experience how critically important it is for the community that we have people on the Board of Supervisors and on the City Council. But on the Board of Supervisors today, we're talking about the Board of Supervisors, and it is a little bit different from city government. When I was elected, and I was 29 years old when I was elected to the Board of Supervisors, I am a lawyer. I read the government code because, of course, I was a lawyer and I was elected to this office. And so what was I supposed to do? I read the government code about county government. And it turns out, city government, we're used to kind of the city manager. If you really read the city charter, the elected officials are not insignificant.
But they're not in charge.
Well, you got the answer to the question. They're not really directly in charge. County government is 5 people. That's it. 5 people. And it really makes a difference who those people are. I just happened to pick up this little slip that I hope it's a good little slip as I came in the door. And small type, all these supporters and all the things Justin's in favor of, and they're all good. But on the other side, with the type that's bigger, so you can really actually read it easily, listen to this, because I want to comment on this and put this as a frame for what's going to happen today. Because what we're going to do today is we're going to hear from, I think, 3 different people from really diverse parts of our community who are going to talk about what Justin and what Justin has been doing means to them. And then we're going to hear from Justin, of course. On this little slip, Justin believes our government works best when it actually listens to constituents. What a concept. As 3rd District Supervisor, he is committed to ensuring that your concerns and the ideas, your concerns and ideas drive action on the county level rather than get buried in bureaucracy. Now, if any of you have been to government meetings recently, you probably have noted, as I have, that the government, so-called, tends to be the bureaucrats telling you what you have to do and what you can't do. And particularly we're seeing this as the local governments pass the buck or say that they can't do anything because of what the state government has done, and there's a lot of truth in that. The fact of the matter is, county government, anything that county government can do depends on 3 votes. There are 5 people on the board. Justin, representing Santa Cruz City mostly, the North Coast, Bonnie Doon, and Davenport. He's one of those votes. And to have a supervisor that says, my job is to listen to you and then try to make that happen for you, the community, as opposed to my job is telling you what you're supposed to do. That is the definition of what the kind of elected official we need. And that's why I support Justin. I supported him last time. I will continue to support him. It's why I'm so delighted to see us all here today. And why, winter is coming and then the spring. And in the spring, good things grow and so do the weeds. And there's very likely to be some effort to take this guy out. And I want to say, we've got to keep Justin as our 3rd District Supervisor. So applause is okay. In fact, I am not here to make the speech. Sorry to do that for you, Justin. He said, would you act as sort of the master of ceremonies? And I said, sure, I'd love to do that. And we're going to hear from an artist who I've just met personally, but whose work I have seen. Abby Mustafa, please come up here. She's got something to tell you about Justin Cummings.
I'm a big fan of Justin. We met years ago in Santa Cruz. I'm an artist here. I'm a local artist. I've worked with other local artists, and I was always kind of in the art scene just a little bit, but it was through a project that I did with Justin that really propelled me to get into activism in this community in a way that I didn't have any idea where it was going to lead, and it was really expansive. And so the way that I see Justin and the way I'd like to talk about him is I wanted to start with integrity, encouragement, and how participation matters. And these are things that Justin has brought into my life and really shown me through the work that we've done together. I reached out to him in 2020 because I had this invitation from other friends in Oakland that were doing the BLM mural, and they were like, come down, you gotta do this. And I was like, oh, I can't, I'm in Santa Cruz. And I was like, what would happen if we did that here? Part of public art is this thing that emerges in you, and you ask for a response from the community. And when you do public art, all of it is about like, here's the thing, let's see what happens, and let's respond to that. And it gives us something to respond to. I wanted to go do it, and I called Justin, who was the mayor at the time, and I said, Justin, I really want to do this thing. Can we do it? And I thought that all I needed was a permission, like a yes over the phone, and it would be fine because I don't know anything about bureaucracy. And he was like, I love it. I think it's a great idea. I support it. Get a permit. And I was like, what? Permit? Like, okay, I'll just fill out these papers. And he's like, here's my friend who is on the Arts Commission. He'll help you through this. And once we got into it, I realized it was this huge bureaucratic process. I also realized that I wanted it, but I didn't know how bad I wanted it because I was still just looking at it as like, this is art and this shouldn't be something that has to go through this process. Also not being familiar with it, I was just not super down. Justin encouraged me to stick with it. He was like, it matters because once you get a permit, there's so much more you can do with it. Once it's sanctioned, you can hold people accountable. And part of sticking with the process of bureaucracy and integrating that with grassroots movements is that then you have some level of accountability. And those two things can't work separately from each other. We have to have both of them to have a system, any kind of like systems change. And I learned that hardcore in our work together. I think if anybody knows about this mural, whether you love it or hate it, it has caused a lot of change in this community. It changed the way that we set precedent for hate crimes, felony hate crimes in Santa Cruz, and that wouldn't have been possible if we had gone rogue and just done it. When Justin encouraged us to get a permit, it was so that accountability could be had. And we also got to go through a restorative justice process that changed so much of how these things are handled in Santa Cruz. So, sorry, I have to look at my phone for some notes that I have. But that was huge to me, and it also changed the way that I look at art and the way that participation happens when we make art together. And what I realized through that is that it echoes by setting precedent for the possibility of change. So when people see us making a change because of something that we did and we waited for a response and we decided to stay and be courageous and respond to it and not just let it get pushed under the rug, it set precedent for other people to feel comfortable asking for that change and to know that they had the support to get through the process of making these things real. So for me, that's been really important, and the expansiveness of radical imagining has also come through this process. And not just that project, but Justin also I had the opportunity to hear him speak to one of my classes at Cabrillo College. And I don't think that everybody has to go to college, but I do think that when people know what's possible, if they want to create a road of study that wasn't there before, they just need to know what's possible. And in him coming to talk to my class, he was one of the first speakers, and they talked about it for the whole rest of the semester, so much so that they asked to put him in the mural that we were creating at the end of the semester, unanimously in our class. And he told the story about this experience he had in South America after seeing one of the policies that he had helped create undo damage that was being done to Galapagos tortoises, and he got to see one of the first hatched tortoises in several years because of this policy that he helped create there. So change does translate into things that are tangible that we can actually see. It translates into people feeling safe in spaces that they didn't feel safe before. It translates into people taking risks and feeling supported, and it actually matters. And so as an artist who didn't want to get involved in politics or policies, he's actually made it accessible and feel like what I say and what I do matters, and that people here matter. So I fully endorse this amazing human and support all the things that he's doing. So.
Woo! Did you say radical opportunity?
Radical imagining.
Imagining.
Creates radical opportunities.
Well, yeah. I just thank you for those words which do sum up what I know about Justin too, and very consistent with what I said in my little introductory remarks. Someone comes to Mr. Cummings as the supervisor, and he will help make it happen. So we'll put you in our mural. Here's another example of that. The next person to speak to us is going to be Taylor Lane. I'm going to let Taylor Lane talk about what he's done. He's another artist in a way. He's a documentary filmmaker. And so I'm going to let him talk about this. If he doesn't tell you enough, I'll tell you more at the end. But Justin made suggestion that came to the board, to him, happen. Unprecedented statewide action protecting our environment. And surfers noticed that, and Taylor's going to tell you about it. Taylor. There he is.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. If only I had a third hand. Maybe that's my next project I've got to work on. So this is a surfboard made out of cigarette butts, picked up off the beach. And my name is Taylor Lane. I've been in Santa Cruz for over 15 years now. I went to San Jose State. I was an industrial design student there. I've always been really inspired by Abby's work. I find a way to spin more plates than I can hold, so I'm a farmer on an organic certified farm called Flip Flop Farms up in Pescadero on 22 acres with a couple other co-friends. And I started this project making surfboards out of cigarette butts, and in my day job, I work in a family business with affordable housing. We do needs inspections and make sure that everybody's living in proper, conditions. So I know that's been a big thing. It's on the ballot. But really, Justin and I met over butts on a beach. Not really maybe the butts you're thinking about, okay? All right. We were picking up cigarette butts. And I got there because of this competition that Surfrider Foundation held back in 2017, which prompted people to build an article of surfcraft out of upcycled materials. So I took this leap, and my good friend Ben Judkins is a filmmaker, and he documented this whole process. And so I somehow found a way to make a surfboard out of cigarette butts. It ended up winning the contest, and really what this was about sparking a bigger conversation on how we think about waste, creativity, and our relationship to the ocean. So this project started gaining this global recognition, and our film's journey turned into this way of figuring out how can surfers actually be, better protectors and stewards of the sea, while also learning these amazing benefits that the ocean provides for us. But the crux of what we were trying to do is figure out what can we do about the harmful impacts that tobacco waste has on the ocean, and what can communities begin to really do about it. So we decided to host a beach cleanup, and I invited Justin. I honestly really didn't know who Justin was. I had no formal understanding of politics. I wasn't really engaged, so I'm waiting for some slick Rick dude to show up, suit and tie, not prepared for the beach. And it's just out of my peripheral comes Justin in a black shirt. He's like, "What's up?" And Justin. And I'm like, "Hey, dude." And so we just kind of started talking about these stories that we shared about our love and understanding of the ocean, but also this really big concern about the plastic tsunami of waste that is plaguing our oceans. And so what stood out to me was really the engagement and the curiosity and the genuine concern that we both had. It was really just a real person listening. And as we walked the beach, picking up cigarette butts, I realized I almost felt like I had met a long lost friend. And this project grew. I got more politically involved in it, and I had followed 3 bills at the state level over the course of 4 years, which specifically aimed at trying to prohibit the sale of single-use cigarette filters, but they all failed. And so I realized that really we had to pivot our movement to the local level. And at this point, the city of Santa Cruz had recognized that tobacco waste was a threat to the community and the environment, but really it just had sat on the table for over 2 years. No one had really done anything. So I came to Justin as a concerned surfer about this frustrating pollution and just really government inaction. And so, Justin kind of really recognized how critical of an issue this was. And after years of effort, we finally felt like someone was listening to us. Justin was on the council at that time. And, of all the members that were there, Justin really persevered and was the catalyst that drove this policy forward. And the policy was pretty simple. It's just saying, look, we don't want these plastic, toxic waste objects on our beaches and in our national marine sanctuary. And we were really tired of big polluters externalizing their costs onto the community. But more importantly, we knew that we had everything on our side. We had the argument, we had the science, we had the data, we had the economic benefits and the impacts, but most importantly, we had the courage from Justin and his team. So then after being elected as a supervisor, he really championed this ordinance. And Justin's courage to kind of stand up to powerful interests like the tobacco companies is not a risk that most politicians are kind of willing to stick their neck out for. But, Justin did, and by doing that, it enabled other representatives to follow. And so what ended up happening is, as of just even a few weeks ago, after years of work on this, this reality became something where Santa Cruz is the first jurisdiction in the world to ban the sale of single-use cigarette filters. And these are microplastics, they leach toxic chemicals, we can't trust big tobacco, and this is really just a huge whack at the knees of an institutionally devilish corporation. And so we already have other jurisdictions in California looking at this, but at the end of the day, what Justin did for us is we turned an idea born out of frustration into a policy of the first of the kind in this nation. And what others had tried to do and failed for decades, literally by trying to do this, we achieved this through local action and persistence. And as we know, that's how a lot of movements are often replicated. It's where they have impact. It's where people feel like they can see the actual energy that they put in to all this stuff at the local level. And it really has proved to me that Justin can take these bold ideas and grassroots action and really lead on amazing real policy change. At the end of the day, what I know about Justin is he does not just rubber stamp things, okay? He listens. He represents people, not special interests, and he leads with integrity and courage. He empowers everyday people to think bold ideas and make extraordinary change. And if Justin had given up, we wouldn't be here today. And if there was no Justin, we wouldn't be here today. And that's why I think he deserves to be reelected. And it's because he doesn't give up. He stands up beside the people he represents. And he turns vision into action. He's not representing us. He's in it with us. Sleeves rolled up, ready to do the work. So thank you, Justin.
That was great. Thank you, Taylor. That's unbelievable. Global. That's nice. Came from the people. Good supervisor. Made it happen. That's actually what can happen. Okay. We're going to hear from Karen Madura. She's a local business entrepreneur, is what I would call her. I've run across her before. She is in touch with the community, and just through her job, through personally her commitment to community. She's been on the Commission for the Prevention of Violence for Women. She organizes beach cleanups and other things. She is a citizen activist, and so she's the third in a row of people who are going to be telling you how citizen activist people active in their community go to an elected official, and suddenly their ideas, their action, their commitment, their desire gets turned into action, like Taylor was just talking about, which can even be global in scope and is damn sure local. Come on up, Karen. Thank you.
Hi, thank you all. Obviously, we're here for Justin, who, in writing this, I realized, wow, I've known him for, what did we decide, 17 years at least. I met him when I was a bartender at Brady's, and he was a PhD student here in Santa Cruz, and got to see him as he went through school and decided to become involved in politics. I was also fortunate enough to be in a position where I was able to buy Brady's and become a local business owner. I also own the jury room, and at the time kind of took those over concurrently. You might guess based on that I'm a little bit of a black sheep in the business community. Not everybody likes what I do, even though I love what I do. And my focus has always been about community. And with Justin as our representative, he is the first time ever that I have wanted to actively be involved in politics. Growing up, my background is, very anti-establishment. I have never trusted what's been coming from the top. It's taken a lot to realize that this is actually about us and this is our moment, and that we have to be a part of it to make any kind of a change happen. And Justin has been an absolute inspiration and a guiding voice in all of that with me. So I just want to thank him. During the COVID-19 pandemic was when we really coalesced together, and he reached out to me personally because my businesses were closed and I had no income. And I also had a staff that had no income and not a lot of guidance. I know that we all remember we were living in real time through a global pandemic. We had a shitty president in office. There was not a lot of leadership happening. And Justin actually reached out and gave us guidance with the best health and safety in mind so that we were able to survive. And that's just one of the many examples that he's come through and been a representative to all of us. After that, he helped immensely as we work to keep our outdoor dining patios. That has been and continues to be a process with the city, and he's been a fierce advocate. And the important thing for me is that he is looking at something that the community wants. You know, they overwhelmingly want it, and he has helped steer us through the bureaucratic process to make it so that we can keep it. As Abby Mustafa mentioned, it's hard for us to make that gap happen, and it's completely worth it because we see that once we do that, we have these pathways set and we can continue to keep going with that. I also want to talk very much about how I believe that Justin is so valuable because of the teams of people that he surrounds himself with. One of the reasons that I advocate for him so much beyond knowing him as a friend is because I see the people that he brings into his fold and he champions, and together we are all community and we are all about making Santa Cruz and Santa Cruz County better for all of us. He continues to impress me all the time. He is a friend and an advocate for all of us, and I know that we're all in this room because we feel the same way. So, thank you.
Well, 3 great testimonials, and now we get to hear from the man himself. You know, I was handed a list of qualifications, starting off with the PhD. Well, let me tell you, my wife has a PhD too, just to give a stroke to our family. It ain't that easy, friends, to do that. And of course, Justin got elected out of community activity to the city council. He became the mayor. He got elected to the board, became the chair of the board, and he became the chair of the California Coastal Commission. Really kind of an unprecedented action by the commission because it recognized the kind of thing you just heard 3 different people testify to. And I want to testify as a past supervisor. He's a keeper. Let's keep him. Justin, come up here and give us your thanks.
All right, well, first I want to start by, thanking Gary, the other speakers, thanking all of you for being here today. I want to thank all the people who were able to bring forward this amazing food spread. And then I also want to give a brief shout out to the Yes on C campaign. I mean, I think, again, part of what I've always thought that is important is making sure people understand how government works, what's on your ballot, why it's important to vote. And so I invited the Yes on C campaign to be here today so that if you aren't familiar with Measure C, which is on the ballot, you can go get some information. You can speak with Elaine. She'll help for you all to better understand if you have any questions. But I will say that what's interesting is that next month actually marks 10 years since I moved back to Santa Cruz after I left after my PhD. So I went and did a 2-year postdoc at Florida International University. Was fortunate, many people leave Santa Cruz, they can't necessarily come back, and I was able to come back. And next month marks 10 years since I will have returned. And 8 of those 10 years I will have spent in local government. And so I just want to thank you all for supporting me over all these years to be a representative in local government. Because it has been one of the biggest honors of my life, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without all of you. And I do want to give a shout out to 2 people in the audience, Ingrid Parker and Greg Gilbert, who are sitting over here. They were my PhD advisors. And before I get into the speech, just a short story. I actually went down to U of I, was checking out a program. The professor there was like, I'm not accepting students. I know this couple in Santa Cruz. If you send me your CV, I'll send it to them. I then was working out on commercial fishing boats in Alaska as a fisheries observer as my first big job out of college, and called my mom. She's like, there's this couple in Santa Cruz, they keep calling and wanting to get in touch with you. You should probably call them. Called them up. They invited me down to check out UCSC. By the time I was getting ready to go, I was made an offer, And at that time, it was Rutgers or Santa Cruz. I thought Jersey or Santa Cruz. So I went with Santa Cruz. And so they're the, what's that?
Good choice.
Yeah, great choice. But they're the reason why I was able to come here. And so I always have to give them a shout out, because if it wasn't for them taking the risk on bringing me here, I may not have ever been in Santa Cruz. But besides that, today we're gathered here in the spirit of community to help re-elect me as the representative for our seat on the Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors. And so what do I mean when I say our seat? As your representative, I've made a priority to make decisions and policies based on our shared values and the input I've received from all of you as my constituents. These values include humane solution to getting our homeless population off the streets and alleviating poverty. These values include protecting our environment and increasing access to the outdoors, creating affordable housing and tenant protections for our local workforce and their families, supporting nonprofits that strengthen our safety net services, increasing and maintaining access to healthcare, improving our disaster resiliency, and creating a community that is diverse and inclusive of all people, regardless of race, gender, age, sexual preference, ability, or socioeconomic status. And I'm committed to ensuring that our local government is accessible to the people, and that the decisions and policies made are a reflection of what the people want and not what our government staff wants. And I'm committed to continuing to promote those values on your behalf. Over the past 3 years, we've actually accomplished a lot together, much of which, if you want to get into the details, will be posted on our website. But a few examples that I want to give broadly. My office has worked with fire victims to help them overcome roadblocks within our government to expedite the rebuilding process after the CZU fires. We've strengthened policies around affordable housing production and tenant protections, which includes that when new developments come on board in the county, they're required to build the affordable housing on site, not pushing off the affordable housing to get built later on down the road. We also have heard from the community that when tenants have issues, they have nowhere to go to. And oftentimes tenants can't afford attorneys. And so while I was on the city council working with Sandy Brown on an effort that she had made with previous council members to provide support for Tenant Sanctuary, which is a group of folks that provide tenant advocacy, building on that, we now have a tenant attorney at the county level who, if tenants are being wrongfully treated by their landlords, they can go to this attorney and not only know their legal rights, but have some basic form of legal representation to overcome those barriers. We've expanded numerous services for people experiencing homelessness. And I'll just say, when I was on the city council, one of the first couple of years, we didn't even have winter shelters for folks during, times when we'd have bad weather. We now have an MOU with the county, the city of Santa Cruz, and the city of Watsonville to require winter shelters. And in addition to that, we've now started building and opening navigation centers throughout the county, one of which is off Soquel. We have the Tiny Home Village down in Watsonville, among many others, to ensure that we're expanding homeless services across our county and not having them just concentrated in the city of Santa Cruz. We've fought to preserve programs that serve women and their families in this community. And most recently, I don't know if you all saw, but during our budget this year, there was an attempt to cut the funding to Gemma House, which is a program that is a step-down program from women leaving incarceration who are coming back into society. When that recommendation came to us on the board, I said, absolutely not. We're going to go figure out how to fund this. And our county staff went out working with Janice. Not only are they able to save the program, but they figured out how to fund the program outside of the county. And so it just goes to show that with persistence, we can make things happen. And I think this program in particular, being one of the few programs that actually serves specifically women, and specifically women coming out of incarceration, I think that's a huge win for our community. We are making meaningful investments into our environment, resilience to disasters, and to climate change. As many of you are probably aware, Measure Q just recently passed, and that was something that not only I supported as a supervisor, but we were able to work with that committee, and that was able to pass at the county level. And now, even during a very dark time at our federal level, we have about $7 million a year that will indefinitely be coming into this community, that we are able to invest in these types of issues. So whether it's vegetation removal, whether it's water quality projects, whether it's educating young people on the importance of protecting their environment, this is something that we've collectively been able to work on, and will be an investment that future generations will definitely appreciate from us. And in addition to that, I will say that along the lines of environment, last year we had an opportunity to work with Congressman Panetta. We realized there was a shortfall on our rail trail segment that goes from Wilder Ranch all the way to Davenport. And through working effectively with Congressman Panetta, we were able to secure the $24 million shortfall that we had. And as many of you drive up the coast, you'll see that trail getting built all the way up to Davenport. We weren't supposed to get that funding until this year. And if we'd waited until this year, we know we wouldn't have gotten that funding. But it was through our office being proactive and trying to see, can we get this money? And working with our federal elected officials to say, hey, can you get us this money? We were able to secure that and move that trail forward, which is going to be a huge benefit to getting more cars off the road, more people out into the outdoors, getting exercise and being healthy. And it's an investment, again, that future generations are going to appreciate because of the work that we've done to make that happen. But I will say that none of this couldn't have been done without your support. I mean, without you all coming to us and telling us what we can do to be better, what your problems are, what your solutions are, and whether or not we can try to make that happen. Without you all coming to us, we couldn't do the amazing work that we're doing. And so my hope is that with your support, we can keep this seat on the County Board of Supervisors, and we can continue to be effective, and we can continue to be the change that we want to see in this community. And so as we move into this next election cycle, now more than ever, we're going to need to come together as a community, not only to fight against this insufferable, horrible administration at the federal level, but also continue to make progress on our shared goals in making Santa Cruz a sustainable community where, regardless of your background, people are able to live and thrive. We need a community that protects our immigrant and our LGBTQ+ community against discrimination. We need to continue to promote policies that protect our environment, especially against offshore oil drilling and deep sea mining, which are a priority for the Trump administration. We need to push our local and state government to prioritize building affordable housing that is for our workforce, that is for our small business owners, so we can maintain the culture that makes Santa Cruz so special. We need to protect our social safety net services to help support our low-income residents. But most importantly, we must continue to have a seat at the table for working class people on our local government and our County Board of Supervisors. I'm proud of what we've accomplished together, but there's still so much more to do. And I will keep fighting for affordable housing, climate resilience, civil rights, democracy, and most importantly, fighting for a community where everyone can thrive. I've been able to count on you all, and when I'm reelected, you all will be able to count on me to continue to make real progress, because the progress that we make can only be done when we work together. So I thank you all again for being here. I want to thank you for your support, and I hope I can count on you all to get reelected next year as Third District County Supervisor.
Pretty good speech, Mr. Supervisor. Sandy Brown, you ever heard of her? I failed to note, as I was noting Mr. Van Allen as a former city council person, that our most recent former city council person, Sandy Brown, is in the room. And she's going to come up here right now. I just talked to her. Come on up here. she'll be able to speak, but I've been here first. We are here to do what you know is coming, which is, do you really want to do what Justin said? Have Justin back on the board for 4 more years? And the answer is yes, we want that. And to do that, we've got to get some money from you and your friends. And so Sandy and I are going to
Do a little
pitch.
Thank you, Mr. Patton. So I'm not going to tell you all the reasons that I love Justin, and I love working with Justin. You've heard what an incredible person he is, community engaged. I don't have to say anything more about that. But I am going to say I love him so much that I am here doing something that I don't really, it's one of my least favorite things to do is ask for money. But nothing says I love you like pitching for money and writing a check, which you can put in these lovely remit envelopes, or you can make love Justin so much that you just use this QR code to make a contribution to the campaign. It is so critical that we raise some money now to ensure that we have the funding ready to go to do the campaign work that we need to do when we get there. And it's quiet now, but things are going to heat up, and we want to be ready. So nothing says I love you like a contribution. And I do want to say another thing that I'm here doing is filling in for the mayor. As a city council member, I did that on occasion, and I am doing it again. He could not be here. And so I thought, well, this is an opportunity to once again thank you on behalf of the mayor of the city of Santa Cruz, who also is supporting Justin. And he would be probably giving you a much more aggressive pitch. So I'm going to try to channel that and say, 1, 2, 3. Justin! Give him some money! Thank you!
I endorse that statement.
The max is $525.
And that's what Fred Keeley has pledged, right?
Exactly.
Is that each? Like $525 for one and $525 for your spouse? That's
Correct.
okay?
That's right. Thank you. Sally, you know how to do it.
$525 is what you can contribute, and we appreciate every bit of it. So, are you going to pass some basket around? What can we do to make sure that this actually happens? I was never the big fundraiser. Mayor Keeley is actually, it's too bad he couldn't come today. He was going to come, he thought, but he really likes to do it. He likes to make you feel good about giving. And could I do that for you? I would like to make you feel good about giving. Because I hope you felt good when you heard from Abby and Taylor. And it just, what a great set of people talking to you this afternoon, including Mr. Cummings. And, you know, I can get pretty emotional about being on the Board of Supervisors.
Well, you can write a check.
Well, allow me to say, you heard there's a maximum for one person in the family, and then there's a maximum for the other person. I have written a check. And you can write one that will come out of our joint account, and it will be attributed to you. And if you would like to come up here and do an additional pitch, let me just tell you, you would be welcome to do it. I really hope you understand how important it is to make certain that people look, they're going to look at the records. They're going to say, well, he had this party. Did anybody care enough to give him any money? They will know whether the answer is yes or no. And the answer really needs to be yes. Because Justin is not going to have a walk through the springtime fields. He's going to have competition, and it's going to be tough. and it's important that he be ready to do it. And I just, I remember the last time around, it was, I guess not 4 years ago yet, but it was 3+ or so. And I was supporting Justin. He had a record on the city council. He was pretty damn good. He was a mayor, been the mayor. But what he's done since then, and you've heard today what that's been, has been extraordinary. And I'm pretty proud of what happened when I was on the board. And I had a couple of people that voted with me. Justin is making these things happen, and he doesn't have the 2 automatic great votes. You've got to vote. I guess this is how we vote nowadays. Anything else I can do?
I'm told that we're supposed to give a little more information, so I'll do it.
Okay, well, you can give as much information as you've got.
So I because I never do these, I wasn't fully prepared. But I do want to say, for those who are going to give, and thank you, Sally, for asking for that reminder on the max for this campaign. If you are going to give, it would be great. Actually, we absolutely need to have your information. If you give more than $100 or more, we have to report all of your information, including your employer. And occupation. So we do have these. It's all available if you use the QR code. It's all there for you to fill out. And I'll be making my way around. You can also hit Celeste up in the back there to give what you can. And I think I remember one thing that Mr. Keeley often says is that he's going to make you feel good about picking your pocket. So I'm off to come around and thank you all.
Sandy?
Woo. Yes.
Just something to remind people, you guys can reach out to your friends. Donating early is really critical. I didn't realize this till I ran for the office, but the more you can start earlier to help contribute, the more the candidate, Justin, can actually begin to develop his game plan and strengthen that base. If you wait till the last minute, it's always appreciated, but really getting it in early and as much as possible. So get your friends, get them excited, get them to throw in the money now. Early's better.
Yeah.
Lonnie Faulkner, thank you very much. Woo. Absolutely. Well, these baskets, or a basket, is going around. Anybody else want to give a little testimony? Anybody else want to give a little pitch? Mr. Van Allen, the seasoned political people know what's going on here. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Gary. Well, first of all, the thing with Justin is justice. And I remember speaking at the kickoff for Justin's city council campaign, and there was this question of promises that our country has made some promises to us, to past generations and to us, and implicitly to future generations. And what are those promises that our country has made to us? Equality, justice for all, equal treatment under the law. Are we delivering that? Well, that's a question right now. And what to me is so important is that what Justin stands for is to fulfill that promise of our country. And right now, it has never been more under threat in my entire life. And I think you share that feeling with me. So what Lonnie said a minute ago is so true, that the money that comes in early for a campaign is what makes a difference. And let me tell you, what I get involved in with campaigns, and I'll be helping Justin, is the technicalities, like how do we know which voters to talk to, and then how do we get our message to them? If we wanted to do a mailing to the voters in the 3rd District, that might be $60,000 to reach everybody with an effective mailer. If we wanted to send volunteers door to door to talk to voters directly, which is what a lot of us like to do, that takes time and money and organizing power. And again, somebody probably might need to be paid a little bit to help coordinate that. That's money. If we wanted to do what is required today for the fact that people don't just read the newspaper or watch the network news or get their information in the mail, but there are several more channels. And so a serious campaign has to address having a substantial presence on all the different channels in social media. That also takes expertise, time, effort, and usually some money. So I'm trying to make it a little more concrete that actually your dollars today are what are going to make Justin have a much better chance of success. The one other thing about the dollars is that right now we don't know if there's an opponent, but a lot of us expect a well-funded opponent. And if you've been following county politics, you know there are a few individuals in our county, quite wealthy, who are trying to control the whole thing. Some of it's about the rail and the trail, some of it's about development, some of it's about what county government should be doing. Should it be helping poor people, or should it be displacing them and making this just a rich community? And there are people with substantial amount of money who have been putting up candidates in other districts in the county, and it's my expectation, and I think I share it with others, that they may be looking at the 3rd District now. That is going to be formidable. That is going to be like taking on the billionaires at the national level. It will be our equivalent locally. So again, please help as soon as you can, if not today, and let's get Justin back in office. Thank you. Woo!
Has everybody feel they've had a chance to make their commitment? They know what they need to do? Do we have anything further to do in this meeting? I think, Justin, I just want to say personally, thanks for being here today. Thanks for having been here over the last 3 years as our county supervisor. I get sentimental about the 3rd supervisorial district in Santa Cruz County because I represented that district for 20 years. And this is the guy. There isn't any question in my mind. You are all released from service, but let's make sure to put Justin. Do you want to come up and say some goodbye or something?
I'm done talking about me, but thank you all for being here, and I look forward to working with you all moving forward.
All right.